close.
How are you? How are you?
Slightly harassed.
What?
Slightly harassed.
I'm bad. All right, should we go ahead and get started? For the recording?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Welcome to the Historic Preservation Review Board Special Call Meeting. This is a citizen board appointed by the Town Council to interpret and uphold the Historic Preservation Ordinance, the Abingdon zoning ordinance, which protects the historic district of Abingdon, which has been designated the Old and Historic District. Our aim on this board is to provide a positive bridge between the property owners of the district and the design review process. So we welcome you to today's meeting. When we get to your item on the agenda, if you would come forward and give us your name and address, that would be appreciated. Fair warning, before we call your project, we'll first have just a very brief staff report before it, so you'll need to wait till after the staff report before you come up. So welcome, and we'll get started. Roll call.
Mr. Boyd? Mr. Owens?
Here.
Mrs. Hartshorn?
Here.
Mrs. White?
Here.
And Mr. Geisler?
Here. Okay, and we're going to skip to item number 5 to begin with, which is the 134 Wall Street project. So we're going to have a little staff report first. So Mr. Bissett's project, if we could take that first.
Sure. Okay, I'll just pull this up here. Okay, so, Bissett has requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness for a 20-foot storage container to be located at the rear of the property. The property is located at 134 Wall Street. If we turn to page 6, I'll just tell you a little bit, and this is really for the public record, but the subject property contains .112 acres, and the tax map number is 011-2-16. A little bit of the background, most of you know, Bissett has been approved for numerous COAs, which are currently in different processes of being completed as approved. When we were first speaking with the applicant, they mentioned that they wanted to have a storage pod in the back of the structure. When they submitted it, the storage pod became more of a container instead. Right now in the design review guidelines, there isn't actually any kind of description about containers like this being allowed in the district. So if you did allow a storage container as a permanent structure in the district, this would be, something that hasn't been allowed previously. The storage container that they're looking at is 20 feet, and height of 8 feet by 6 inches. If there was the desire to have something like this in the district, staff is suggesting that there'd be fencing at least 9 feet, at least to cover the entire existence of the container. Rear yard fences in the OH district are only allowed right now to be 6 feet tall, so we're kind of running into a couple of different things that you all would have to make decisions on from deviations from the design review guidelines. There was a previous approval, and that was for a 12 by 10 shed. That was the original request in COA. That was to be built 4 feet off the rear of the structure. The applicant decided he does not want to move forward with that shed as was originally approved. A couple of other things during the site visits that were done. The awning on that primary elevation of the structure was approved to be 21 feet by 2 feet, 4 inches with white lettering to be 7.5 inches tall. After visiting the site, staff found that the awning is approximately 26 feet, 5 inches long, extends out roughly 4 feet, and the lettering is roughly 9 inches tall. So it probably would be good to also decide if we need to discuss the awning tonight, or if you all want to bring up any more conditions or talk about a new motion for that. Another question that was brought up was by our building inspector. Originally, there was a requirement for guttering on that exterior structure, which would provide covering for outdoor seating. So the applicant doesn't want to put that guttering up and is thinking about removing the material on top of that pergola on the south side. So again, probably, a discussion to be had whether or not, removing that material from the top of the pergola needs to also be discussed tonight. So those are kind of, we're talking about a storage shed, and we've got a couple of other outstanding items from previous COAs that I think would be important for you to talk with the applicant. So with that, I guess we'll bring the applicant up to discuss this project.
Yeah, Mr. Hvac.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm always here, so my name hasn't changed. Neither my address. So, at first, I wanted to ask y'all, request something, if we can just discuss this one, given my situation, and I'm the cook.
You've got a pizza in
Oh,
there.
I got a pizza in the oven. I gotta catch it. Yes, I gotta catch
So
it.
just discuss the
And
storage.
I will promise you, at a later time, just call me, just set up the meeting, and then I'll come and we'll talk about the other two.
Maybe that would be good, because that'll give us the opportunity to look at the awning.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Can you come to our next meeting in 2 weeks?
I can, yes, I
Okay.
can.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just talk about the,
You guys approved that shed,
Yes.
as she stated early before,
Yes.
but later on, when I got into it, there's so many obstacles. First of all, it's way more expensive than this one, given the prices now and all of that. And number two, it's very difficult to find somebody to build it fast enough. And so I changed my mind, and I saw this container, and I wanted to put that behind the building, and it will be on the side of the road. It will be pretty much maybe 80% covered with the fence. And it's a lot easier for me, faster for me to get something like this.
With a fence that's already there?
The fence that are already there.
How high is that fence?
That one is either 6 or 8.
but that fence
No
only,
less
It
than
must be
6.
this fence, this white fence.
Yes.
but that fence only hides it partially from one side.
Yeah.
There's still an alleyway that comes, it's still visible.
After you
from-
drive by, yeah. It's not visible from the road. It's visible from
The rear of all those other
the
buildings.
the neighbors,
Right.
just the neighbors, because the only traffic there is my neighbors, the businesses around.
I don't see that there's any way we could approve this. This isn't, it's not even a structure that's talked about in our guidelines. It's not anything that would have been part of a historic district. It's not going to be consistent with anything. It's going to open the door to this type of thing in other places in the historic district. I'd be curious to hear.
Well, I agree. Unfortunately, the reason it's not discussed is it's just really not appropriate.
Okay.
I just don't think there's any way we could do that. We can allow a shed to be built, an outbuilding, a structure, but,
Would we allow like a metal type of a shed he could get at Home Depot or Lowe's or something? That's a pre-built shed?
Well, once again, the problem
But
with that
that's-
is we're opening that up to anywhere and we have definite guidelines about.
I can't
outbuildings.
remember what the one we approved was back in September.
I think it was wood. It was a
Was it
wooden
wood?
shed.
Yeah.
It was a wooden shed. The issue is it'll be very visible. It would require a fence that's too tall to hide it, and it's just not appropriate for this district.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
No problem.
I'm sorry.
We need to.
Yeah.
I guess we'll need a motion.
I'll make the motion that we deny the application.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Owens,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
and Mr. Kiesler.
Aye.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We'll see you next time.
No, I can't.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, now back onto our agenda. Certificate of appropriateness for the Nature Conservancy. Have at 190 East Main Street. And again, we'll have a summary before so that's hard to get used to, I'm
We
sorry.
changed our little policy.
All right.
We get you halfway up here and said,
There you go. The Nature Conservancy and Matthew Bundy as the representative are requesting a certificate of appropriateness to enlarge the rear shed roof structure covering the rear exterior door facing Troopers Alley. The property is located at 146 East Main Street, and the enlarged shed roof structure will match the existing in both style and materials. The post supporting this enlarged structure will be a new 4x4 post matching the existing. And obviously the property is in the Old Historic District, that's why we're looking at it. It's 0.25 acres, and it's legally described as Lot 35, Main Street Rectory, tax map number 013-1-116. The background is that there's currently a shed-like roof structure hanging over an exterior door visible from Troopers Alley, and the current structure has a standing seam blackish gray metal roof and measures roughly 4x4. So if you turn to page 7, the proposed new shed-style overhang will match the existing materials, color, and style. Currently, the standing seam metal roof is a grayish-black, and the support beams along with all other wooden elements are painted white. The shed-style roof will be extending out to be flush with the wall to the east of the overhang, and the overhang will also extend to the west, covering the new incoming electrical service as seen in the drawing submitted here, and the applicant will also discuss this. So with that, we're ready for the presentation.
Matt?
She pretty well summarized it. They're going to remodel the basement of that they've got some more grants and some more employees coming in. And so we have those plans submitted, and they just want to enlarge that awning to make it a little bigger, a little nicer, clean it up some.
Is part of the reason to cover the new units?
No, they just wanted it a little bigger.
It is very small, so they just want it bigger.
Yeah, exactly. And I called it an awning, but it's basically a metal shed roof attached to it.
Are there any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve
Second?
shed-style overhang.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mr. Owens,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
and Mr. Geisler.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is a certificate of appropriateness for Southeastern Retina Associates, 160 Cummings Street. And again, we'll have a staff report.
Did we miss
Did you
one?
skip
Oh,
one?
did I skip
You
one?
skipped one. You skipped number 2.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I did, didn't I?
That's
Okay.
back to Matt. Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
All right, so certificate of appropriateness for Kenton Thompson, 301 Valley Street.
All right. So Kenton Thompson is the owner, and Matthew Bundy is the representative. Another certificate of appropriateness. This is for a new brick chimney penetrating the current standing seam metal roof. Property is located at 301 East Valley Street. The new chimney will be constructed of Virginia Highland bricks laid in a running bond as a veneer. We had some discussion with the applicant regarding this project, because as you all remember, on March 2nd, the applicant was approved for 2 wooden windows on the primary elevation that would match the windows on the first and second floor for egress purposes. And due to the attic build out, and they're expanding that living footprint of the attic. So the other piece to this was that the new garage and the expansion of the porch, if you all remember, and all the accompanying architectural features that connected the newly constructed garage and the primary structure. So all that was approved on March 2nd. So they came back and asked for the chimney. So the proposed new chimney will be at the same height as the current chimney, per the drawings that are submitted and that we have here on the screen. It would be hidden from the public view when looking at the building head-on from the East Valley Street south elevation. The chimney is visible from the west, north, and east elevations. So this proposed chimney is disguising a elevator shaft. So it's there's a new elevator that's going to be installed in the building, and the applicant did say that the original structure had 2 chimneys. One chimney was removed years ago by the previous owners when the fireplace was taken out and an interior wall removed on the first floor. So if you look at the historic picture that we have here on page 13 of the staff report, You can see the previously removed chimney and then the current and existing chimney. The proposed chimney is larger. Obviously, it's camouflaging a elevator shaft, and it's not located in exactly the same location as the previously removed chimney. So, one of the questions that was being asked is how much of the existing roofing would need to be removed to accommodate this change. And other sections of the design review guidelines state when rebuilding in whole or part, or is the only option, it should be done to match the original chimney design. And 37C states new dormers, roof decks, balconies, or other additions should not be introduced on the front of buildings. So additions of this type may be added to the roof on the rear or sides if it's not prominently in the public view. So this Virginia Highland brick appears to match closely, if not exactly, to the brick used in the current chimney. And so the applicant has stated in correspondence with staff that they try to match this brick and mortar to the proposed chimney, and for the proposed chimney to the existing as close as possible. So staff also notified the applicants and the representative that they would have to meet with the town of Abingdon's building official for the elevator installation, and go through that review process. So that is what staff has, and if there's anything else to add.
Mr. Bundy? Mr. Thompson? Both?
Yeah. She explained it pretty well, but we have some brick samples to show you guys.
Yeah, the staff did ask if we had any samples, so I did obtain some samples.
Sure.
Yeah.
Look at them. We got something for show and tell.
Thank you.
But those were the closest that we could find, you know, in color to the existing brick, and at least it's obtainable. You know, you could, anything else would, you know, really require special order and a quantity that is well in excess of what we need for this project. So.
So I guess basically, I mean, we're calling it a chimney, but it's not a chimney, it's an elevator shaft. It's not trying to-
Right, it's just disguised as a chimney as, you know, I mean, what we feel is the best alternative in terms of, you know, having a minimal impact on the existing profile of the house, you know, so short of changing the roof line, you know, to accommodate that structure. You know, this is a way of, you know, trying to make it, you know, blend with the existing structure, minimal exterior change. And, you know, as was noted by the staff, the house, you know, did previously have 2 chimneys, so, you know, didn't feel it was out of character for, you know, the structure in general.
What's the dimension? 4 by something?
It's a,
So, in other words, how much bigger is it than the other chimney?
Yeah, it's
definitely thicker.
yeah, I'd say it's like more like 5 by 5.
I mean, this picture we have of this skinny chimney is the one that's on there now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, and you can see here that the, you know, it's very similar in size to the existing chimney on the wide side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
About 4 feet, but then, you know,
It-
because of the elevator, it's
it's-
pretty much square.
Yeah, it's basically about twice as thick.
Does it have to be as tall as the other chimney for requirements, or have you just done that to match
We
it?
still have matched.
How
Right.
tall does it have to be to accommodate what you're
Oh.
doing?
I mean, it wouldn't have to extend, you know, I mean, anywhere near the peak.
Yeah, it just has to get about right there.
Yeah.
This is the ceiling height.
How are you addressing the roof? And I see that that's one of the concerns in the staff findings.
Well, I mean, the penetration through the roof would just be framed, and there'd be flashing that would be put in, you know,
Well,
around the.
I guess I was
structure.
reading, let me go back to that a second. I thought there was a question about the roof. Oh, they wanted to know how much of the existing roof would need to be removed to accommodate the change.
Well, it would just be, you know, approximately that, you know, 5 foot by 5 foot area.
Just that opening.
Do you have
Yeah,
an
just the opening.
asphalt shingle roof?
No, it's
No,
metal.
they have the metal
roof.
standing seam.
And this is not the side that faces Valley, it's the side
Correct.
street.
If you can show the elevation from Valley Street, go on this next page.
So this
Yeah.
one.
That's,
Yeah. So you can-
that picture at the
you can-
bottom,
You
yeah,
don't even
You
see
can
it.
see just a sliver of it, that
This
roof
right
there.
here.
right.
So I think that's an important point,
I think it is.
that
too.
that you really don't even see it from Valley Street.
Right.
And I guess that maybe Byram's question about the height requirement, the
Yeah.
lower it is, the less it is visible.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that
Well,
right?
and like that elevation there, I mean, effectively, you'd have to be, 10 feet off the ground to have that perspective
Uh-huh,
of,
yeah,
of seeing,
yeah,
maybe the top brick layer or something.
Yeah.
right,
From the street level itself or on the sidewalk, you wouldn't be able to see it.
right. I think in your remarks, you said that you rarely see the two of them in the same eye view.
That's correct.
Which I think is an important point.
And really, you wouldn't be able to see all of both of them from, any angle.
Can we go, just scroll up to the rear elevation for a minute? I just want to see that again. Okay, so, I guess it's just the way it's drawn. It's hard to tell that's not visible from Valley Street, but.
So the existing chimney has some detail with the brick is a little bit, it extends out like banding around the top.
Okay.
Were you planning on doing that with this?
Yeah, the
think we
objective
should.
is to mirror
map
it
it, to
in
mimic
terms
it.
of the brick and the design. I mean, to the extent that we can, we want it to look like it's always been there.
Yeah, so we would definitely be amenable to that.
Yeah. And if a lower height would be preferable, I mean, that's fine with me.
That's something I'm struggling with because I think
What is?
anything like this, primarily the concern is to be less visible.
Yeah,
But then I see that, you're trying to make it stand out less by making it more chimney-like, so there's
Yeah.
two
Right.
things.
yeah,
kind
if
of
it was
occurring.
too low, I mean, anybody who knows anything about chimneys would say, well, that's not a functional chimney.
That's an elevator.
Because he wouldn't be able to get any pull, any draft from it.
I'm just thinking the size is gonna tell you anybody that it's not a chimney as it is.
If it's if it's
Yeah,
a big
it's
square.
It's
Yeah.
big.
Because the original chimney is thin, like it's
Exactly.
narrow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the original, right? This one here.
Yes.
And then this is the big box.
And is the elevator just the need for someone that can't do stairs to be able to have exit?
It's not a
Right, it's just
business.
for accessibility of all three floors, basically be able to age in place and, have easy access
Good
to,
idea.
the entire structure. Not getting any younger.
I guess
Tall
my
house.
concern is just the boxiness of it and the height. I mean, I just I can't, from these drawings, I'm struggling to sort of picture exactly what I'm looking at.
Maybe try the rendering, shows maybe a better, just gives a good idea of the proportions,
On there.
how you would see it.
Yeah.
I don't know how everyone else is feeling, but I think the most important thing for something like this is to be as inconspicuous and as less tall as it can be.
Mhm.
And I know that if you make it smaller, it's going to
Look wrong.
look less of a chimney, but look less chimney-like. But
Can you make it a little smaller?
Oh, yeah.
But we can't make it proportion smaller.
Well-
You can't,
Barely.
it still has to be that big square box.
Yeah.
Well, at
Okay.
least at the very base of it.
Yeah.
It would have to. I mean, you could
It's
you
true.
could neck it down,
Taper it.
I mean, it only has to penetrate a couple of feet.
I mean, there are all sorts of chimney sizes in the historic district. And
Yeah.
the William King House across from the courthouse has one chimney which is probably 20 feet tall,
Yeah.
and another one which is 3 or 4 feet tall, and that's
Mhm.
because of so
Yeah.
there are unusual things like that. So I almost feel like the shorter you can make it, the better, even though it would be.
If you could just make it a little shorter and still look like a chimney,
Yeah.
maybe it wouldn't be just sort of jumping out I think the brick color looks like it's really a good match.
Mhm.
How much size do you need to make it function as how high above the roof does it have to go to be able to do what you need it to do?
Well,
It just has a little bit of run out above the roof. I don't know that off the top of my head. I have to go back
Yeah.
and research it.
I mean, if it's not gonna be the same height as the other chimney, I feel like the smaller it is, the better.
Yeah, I agree.
And still
Yeah.
put the trim around it, but then you have a non-conforming feature and something that's not really consistent with other things being as minimal as it can be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm not.
I mean, I think it's a
100%
good,
convinced
it's a
of
good
that.
solution to disguise an elevator box. I
Mhm.
mean, I like that idea of it.
Yeah.
It
I
just,
personally would be comfortable with it if it was dropped down about a foot to where you could definitely not see it from Valley Street.
Okay.
yeah,
That
we
would
could
be-
definitely do that because, I mean, we increased the height from what was needed to that height,
Just for that
you know,
purpose.
just to match the other chimney.
yeah.
I think the 5x5, whether it's 2 feet tall or 6 feet tall, is not going to make that big of an impact as far as I'm concerned. I think the shorter is going to look more
Too short.
too short.
The value of not seeing it at all from Valley Street outweighs the negative of it not being an exact match height, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion to do that. Is that
Uh-huh.
I'll make
What
a
is,
motion
can
that-
you say what you're saying? Yeah.
the chimney just be dropped down approximately a foot, you know, depending on what, but it still match the existing chimney as far as details go.
Well,
It'll
the-
still be 5x5, but only drop down low enough where you definitely can't see it from Valley Street.
It doesn't look to me like there's a lot of detail on that original chimney either.
There's
though.
not much.
Yeah. So what kind of detail are you asking them to do?
Well, if you look at the picture, you can see that there is some detail, so
Because
it's
I'm
going to.
looking at all these
Just
pictures.
over here.
Yeah, there is.
See, look right here.
Yeah.
There's several row lots.
Yeah, okay, on that
So
picture.
if you don't have that, you're
Yeah.
gonna really have an inconsistency.
Yeah,
I do think that's an important
To
point. is
leave the
that- is that
detail.
Detail
Yeah.
around it.
mimic
Right,
the detail.
At the very top.
Yeah.
So, will a foot do it?
Yeah, I think so. If not, then we'll
And
come
still
back.
give him plenty of room to
Oh, yeah.
use.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, we'll come back with a different solution. I
Yeah,
think we
but-
can lower it a foot. It looks like there's plenty of room for that.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should just give them enough leeway
I think
to
so.
lower it to where it's
Yeah,
not seen
without
from
having to
Valley
come
Street.
back.
Without having to
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
You just make that decision. Okay.
Sure.
All right, well then I'll
Okay.
second Mike's motion if that's, yeah.
All right, roll call?
Mr. Owens, Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
Mrs. White,
Aye,
and Mr. Geisler.
Aye,
thank you.
thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Now we're on Southeast River.
Did y'all want to keep those bricks?
Oh, no, you can have them, sorry.
That might be the two you need.
You may need them.
Yeah, I will.
We'll be coming back for you. Okay, now, Southeastern Retina
Looks
Association.
like Jessica's.
Okay, Southeastern Retina Association and Jessica Cook as a representative, are requesting a certificate of appropriateness for a sign. The property is located at 160 Cummings Street. So as you all remember from our last meeting, they came in with this proposed sign here. And there was a lot of discussion about, the fact that this is the entrance into the old and historic district, and that this sign had quite a bit of height and quite a bit of area compared to what the underlying zoning allows. So they have come back and they're proposing a smaller sign, same location, but a lot smaller. The sign now measures 18 inches by 30, so they're at 3.75 square feet. It is on a much smaller base than they were previously proposing, and staff has no additional comments on this.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome.
Hello, Jessica.
Oh yeah, I'm a kid, Jessica. Hey guys. Yeah, so this is a lot smaller.
A lot smaller.
A lot smaller. It'll be the traditional high density urethane that we use. It'll be a single pole, and it'll have a steel like internal bracket to hold for both sides.
Any comments or questions?
It matches well the visitor center sign across the street.
Right.
That's great.
It looks really good.
She could take it up to 4 square feet, did she?
Right. Well, this is the layout that they
Okay,
had
yeah.
wanted.
All right.
You know,
Okay.
since it had to be
Works like
smaller.
that.
Right.
Right.
All right. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
I move we approve it as presented.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Owens?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
And Mr. Geisler?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Regent Street Properties LLC. Again, we'll have a staff summary.
Okay. So Regent Street LLC and Wahlberg Construction and Bundy Architect and Engineering as representatives are requesting approval of the certificate of appropriateness for the renovations of the former Abingdon Mercantile. This is our apartments, commercial space. We saw this previously, and the items that they're coming back to for review at this time are balconies, brick colors, HVAC screening, and lighting. So, if they wanna go ahead and present,
Sure.
we have the drawings, and if you guys kinda tell me which ones you want me to look at, then I can pull them up for you.
Nathan Berg, 24383 Walton Road, Abingdon. I have some, well, first of all, how's everybody doing?
We haven't seen you for a while.
I know, yeah, good seeing everybody. I have the brick sample. This is General Shale. It's tumbled to replicate old deteriorated brick, which is what we're matching. So that would go on
Yeah, looks good.
the elevator shaft.
That's nice.
The mortar would be a buff color made to match the existing.
That's what you have in the picture here.
Correct. Something, I don't know what happened to the little mortar
Well, we
sample,
have,
but you've got it in the picture. It's
Yeah.
just
Standard.
yeah, we'll use a low Portland cement content mortar and with a river sand, and then tweak the dye to match. It's kind of more of an art than a science. So that'll be on the elevator shaft and stairwell addition that's going on the back of the building.
Okay.
do you want to address everything one at a time? Or do you wanna wait till
if you, does anybody have any
Yeah,
questions?
do we have
on
any
that?
questions about, okay.
No.
Okay, so
Carol?
I'll keep going. The second item is the HVAC screens. I think originally we had looked at putting the outdoor units on the ground with a screen around them. For lots of different reasons, that's not possible, mainly because there's just not enough space on the ground. So what we are proposing is to place them on equipment balconies covered with a metal screen that would be painted a dark bronze color that would match. The intent is to sort of make it look like an old fire escape would look. Visually, that'll be kind of the visual trickery that we would be trying to do.
Visual
It's
trickery.
not a very that corner will not be really that visible. I mean, you will be able to see it from what's the name of the road? Remsburg. You will be able to see it on Remsburg, but again, we're trying to keep it as inconspicuous as possible with the metal screen.
That's what this is.
That's what that is
Oh, I
right
see
there.
what you're doing,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's what
So
this-
they'll
that's
be
what
on-
this is, right?
With
Metal,
those
exactly.
swing down gates is what the dotted lines are?
Right, so
Okay.
that's just for accessibility for maintenance and repair. So basically, it'll be accessible with a ladder that somebody would that would just be a regular ladder, not a part of the building. You would put your ladder on it, you would swing the gate down, and then you would step out onto that and then enter the area for you to be able to service the units. But that, again, that would be very infrequent. The main,
creative.
they'll basically stay the way you're seeing them right there on the elevation. And again, they'll be painted a dark, I wouldn't say black, but a dark
So there's no
bronze.
access to anybody that lives there to go hang out on their
No,
balcony?
no. You would have to be pretty determined to get to it, you know. The idea is that only a professional technician would be the ones,
I mean, it looks like a nice solution.
Accessible.
I think
And they're less than
Mhm.
4 feet tall,
yes. 40,
42 inches?
42 inches, yeah. And that way the actual units will be completely disguised. You'll just see the metal screen.
Are the units that are near windows, is that a stairwell or are those occupancy windows?
Those would be occupied rooms.
Okay. Any questions regarding the screen
Okay.
unit balconies? Okay.
Um, The other item are the balconies on the front. I think in our last meeting, everyone had requested just more information, and that's what we've done here. Just provide more detail on what those balconies will be constructed of. They will be, the guardrail will be a black wrought iron railing with a slight, a decorative top rail. Again, the top rail would be something in keeping with this period of architecture. So just a more discreet kind of detailing on the top rail, not just square, but it wouldn't be ornate either.
Like your picture.
Exactly, the pictures.
Oh, yeah.
The pictures provide more detail on what it would
Right.
look like. Yeah,
Okay.
This picture right here.
yeah. That kind of gives you more detail on the front. The platform would be wood with a wood trim painted white to match the rest of the exterior trim. You look there at the base of the, the platform that you would stand on.
Now, the metal balcony, is that going to be black?
Correct. The cast iron railing will be black, and the platform that you stand on will be, the cornice or the fascia of that would be white,
Okay.
painted white wood.
All right.
And that's all for now.
Is there lighting?
Lighting.
There's
Oh,
lighting,
yes, sorry,
yeah.
lighting, yes. So I shaded that in to kind of give you an idea of how the light would be cast. From the top, you would have a recessed light that would shine down to illuminate the balconies and also the front entrance. Those would be a low-profile recessed light. And then on either side of the front door, I think you have the submittal that shows the light. It will just be an up-down light. That would be a wall-mounted sconce, but it basically, exactly, that's it right there. And it floods, and so that is the recessed light that would be going in the underside of the balcony, shining down on the next one
The
below.
ceiling of the
The
balcony.
ceiling of each balcony, exactly. And the idea behind that is just really to make that as low profile as possible, basically making it disappear as much as you can. Just looking at it from different perspectives, that I did look at doing a pendant light, and it just didn't look right. It didn't fit with the rest of the building. So we opted to do the recessed. I think that's the up-down light, and then the over the if you look back at the elevation, that shows. So if you look over the 4 storefront windows that would be a similar light to what you have. It's a sconce that would shine down over those windows. It
Is
would
it
be
gonna
the
be
same,
mounted above the window?
mounted above the window, almost in the awning. You wouldn't see it unless you were actually standing beneath the awning, but it would match the sconce lights that are on either side of that front door.
Are those sconce lights the
Those-
same that we approved for the Summers building?
It is.
Those up, down, the brown ones that are here?
The bronze up-down
Bronze.
lights, yeah. So
Okay.
that light can either be a down light or an up-down light.
Okay.
And it looks the same, it's just capped and doesn't have a bulb. All the same specifications.
Okay, any questions?
And so what's going on the back and the sides, then
Sure.
the same thing?
Nothing on the sides.
Or what's the north elevation then? I
So
guess?
there's that's the back
Back,
elevation.
okay.
Those lights that you're seeing there, those would be the same sconce lights that would be on the front. So they're just illuminating the two back doors.
Well, I think that everything they've proposed is within the scope of our guidelines. Well
Thank you
done.
for being so
Well
thorough.
done.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the lighting, the lighting and then the, I can't think of what those fire escapes are called.
Or the balconies?
The balcony
Mhm.
for the HVAC,
Mm-hmm.
and was it?
The balconies, the balconies
Balconies for the
themselves,
front,
and the brick.
and the brick, and the mortar.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Owens?
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn?
Aye.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
And Mr. Dixon?
Aye.
Great,
All right,
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we did five. Yeah, that's nice brick, I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love this brick.
Yeah.
This is really
Yeah.
great. Use it in future projects.
Oh, you have more planned?
Okay, so we've already taken care of 5. So
Six.
6, Vicky Wampler, 151 North Church Street. And again, we'll have just a brief report from staff, and then we'll get right to it.
So Vicki Wampler obtained the original COA in October for 151 North Church. At that time, the plans had a structure that had a front and a rear stoop and porch. The structure that went through the building permit approval on November 19th, 2021. As we were looking at the project, basically out our back door, we noticed that the way that the porches were starting to be constructed there was a front porch as had been originally approved, but then there was a side porch and door that had not been approved either through you as the HPRB nor the building permit process. And so, because that original meeting, there was a lot of concern about usage from Plum Alley, discussions about ensuring that the driveway, was off of Church Street and not off of Plum. If you have ever come down the alleyway, during any kind of a rain event, ensuring that the water is going to the storm drain has been a big piece of this, not only for the town, but also, for the applicant, for Ms. Wampler's property, to make sure that water isn't just pouring into their yard. So making sure that that part is not graded on the side has been a big piece of the equation. So when we saw that, this side one was being built, we said we needed to do a stop work order, and she needed to come back in front of the HPRB to see whether or not you would allow that side porch and door, or if you're gonna require her to relocate that to the original design, which should have been on the rear of the building. So there's 2 things that staff is suggesting as conditions. Again, we only suggest these things if we, see the possibility for a need. We're suggesting that if you do approve this side porch, that landscaping be required along Plum Alley. to ensure that there's, preserving that current drainage and then making sure that there's no actual access from Plum Alley, onto the property. And then they may be bringing this tonight, I'm not sure, but there still was the requirement, there was still a request for you all to look at the railing, from the original, COA that was approved. And I'm not sure if they brought a railing, example tonight or not, but that is one more piece, to take a look at. So there is an image of a railing here, but you might wanna ask more about that. So that's all that staff has. Any additional comments?
Okay, Ms. Walker? Hello?
Hi, how are y'all?
Good.
Glad to see you again. What can I do to help explain? I think y'all got a copy of the new where we did it over with the side porch.
I don't know.
That's what this, the new elevation in
That's
here
the-
shows it.
Oh, yes, I see, right
Yeah.
here, this one.
Page.
I was trying to hear, but I couldn't hear good because of the fan.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
So as we approved the project, there was not going to be a porch on the Plum Alley side, is that correct?
Exactly.
And as constructed, you're building one there. I guess before there was supposed to be, was there a porch on the front and back?
Correct,
yes.
With the front being on Church Street?
correct,
yeah, when we say porch, are we talking mostly about a stoop?
correct.
A stoop
So-
with the railing around it?
It's a
Okay,
stoop,
okay.
but the reason I had, first of all, I'm sorry I changed it. But the reason, when you get in construction, you don't know if there's a reason why you can't put something by the original drawing. And the reason that I didn't even think about trying to get it, by you guys first, which I probably should have, but I didn't think about it, but is because we kept moving it in, closer to the road, Church Street. And we moved it in 2 more feet. It was still going to be right in the lady's backyard. The one right behind me.
The porch you're
Porch. Yeah, my porch would be right in her yard. And she has a
Oh.
compost thing there.
Oh, I see.
And if I built it there, I was going to be right into her, really close to her compost thing. So as far as the porch being on the side, it mimics the house now more. The original house, my house,
Mhm.
it's got that front porch, and then it's also got the front porch that's a side porch, just like this one. So it kind of looks more like it's more symmetrical now. And as far as the putting shrubs and stuff, I'm planning on putting, a lot of greenery and shrubbery and stuff along that Plum Alley. It already has a berm there
Mhm.
that they built up when they built the road.
Mhm.
So I didn't cut the yard all the way down to the berm. Tyler told me to leave it up at least a foot or more so water wouldn't run down, so I did that. I left it up high enough to where I can, still landscape there and keep the
Uh-huh.
water from running back on me.
Well, so, just to review, the main issue I think that I remember is the drainage issue, coming from your neighbor's yard area into your yard now.
We checked that out. There wasn't a drainage issue there. Tyler was thinking there was something wet, but there wasn't anything standing there.
Okay.
So he was just saying that berm on the Plum Alley side, just make sure I built that yard up to where the water
Okay.
the water would go down on the road,
Okay.
not.
And then the other was so that there would not be access to drive from Plum Alley onto the property, another entrance from Plum Alley, and it was on Church Street, and you've maintained that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
You've observed that it's Church Street access, is that correct? Okay.
Would you all have a problem with me just parking on the side there, and not a driveway, not an entryway?
You mean parking on Church Street?
On Plum Alley, on the other side of the porch?
On your property?
Right.
But entering from Church Street?
Well, I haven't decided that. I really don't know where I'm gonna park. I guess I'll just have to park where they park. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say, just from Tyler's discussion,
Uh-huh.
I mean, the main thing is that if you pulled in here from Plum Alley over and over, it's gonna change the drainage pattern. I mean,
Okay.
even right now, it's graded pretty flat.
Yeah.
If you look at how it originally was, you can definitely see here that the water was draining and coming down to basically this,
There, right.
this right here is where the water's draining to. So if this is now flat, the chances of, and you start driving through here, the chances of water coming down Plum Alley and going down into your yard, it changes the drainage pattern, so that's
I'm not
where
changing that one on the corner where the pole is.
Yeah,
That's still right.
yeah.
The only part is, see up there where hers is, that she just put hers in, she's got a driveway, goes to hers, and it's got tiles there.
That
And it
she's
doesn't
just
have to
done
burn
recently.
at all. It's just like
Yeah.
a little waste, little bit.
Right. Yes,
You know what
I
I'm
know, I
saying?
know what you're saying.
Well, hers, she's got that same, and I
Uh-huh.
thought, well, I'm not saying I will do it. I'm just saying that if I ever needed a parking beside that, I couldn't put that like hers. I couldn't do the same thing she did. And still keep the burn.
I think the question is you can't have two entrances.
But I've got two addresses now. Does that make a difference?
Yes. No.
It don't?
But you're still not, you are not talking about coming into
I'm not
park-
making a driveway. I was
Yes,
just gonna
from
park there
Plum Alley. You just
occasionally.
want to enter from Church Street and
Yeah.
park beside your
May-
house.
Maybe. We haven't decided what kind of,
Yes.
Do you mind if I just
what,
intervene to elaborate on what you're saying?
okay.
Just a hair. Not gonna get involved. When she originally approached this, the address
Mhm.
was supposed to be 102 Valley Street, right?
Right.
Lot A and B.
Mhm.
The town decided to give her a 911 address.
We didn't know they were gonna do me a 151.
When they did that, is that not entitled to her to at least a parking area to be beside of her porch, not a drive-through, literally a parking area? It would still have a slant. It's still curved enough to where that water can't get up there. It almost, because they gave her a different address and not done the A and B.
I think
And
the
I'm-
question that we, if you'll go back to that picture, is you're allowed to have either access to your property either off of Church Street or Plum Alley, not both. Now, once you access off of Church Street, you can park on your front porch as far as
You're,
I'm concerned.
what you're all saying, if I come off of church,
Yeah.
then I can go
You can
around
park
to
in your
left
own-
and
You can
park
park
up
in your own
there?
yard.
That would be okay, right?
Yes.
Okay,
You're-
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
As
the
long as
issue,
you
We'll
don't
figure it
have
out.
two driveways.
I'm not gonna do anything y'all don't want me to do. I'm sorry about the porch.
No, I guess, I think that the concern was that you thought maybe there was two driveways, but you can park on your own grass.
No, I'm not gonna make
Yeah.
not two driveways. I just thought sometimes I was thinking about maybe pulling in there. Well, anyway, let's just go back to the porch, okay? Let's just go back to the porch. I don't
So let
wanna
me ask
get.
you also, I mean, these are the drawings where we approved, right?
Right.
And so, you know, I mean, I was envisioning this, it's very much raised up with a substantial foundation, and that, well, you know, what were gonna be like sort of stoop porches to match the existing house are now very highly raised, areas. I mean, was that because of the drainage issue?
Yes.
Okay.
He said that he wanted to keep the house, I wanted it flatter. But he said because of the water, if you get too much lower down in that ground, that you're gonna be down to where your house is gonna be almost even with Plum Alley. You know what I mean, instead of up.
Are you gonna do any backfilling in around this?
Yeah, he's
after
gotta
it's
fill
done?
all that in.
What
Just
are we
around
gonna
the
be looking
porches.
at in terms of how much of the foundation's going to show when you do
Probably
that?
3 block.
I mean, there is a little window there, right, on the foundation, that'd be up to there, but,
the windows are not there yet.
Yeah, right.
No, she's talking about the little window.
The
with
window on
little
on the
ventilation
foundation,
thing
like
and
a
the-
basement.
I
Yeah,
see
right
that.
there,
Oh.
yeah.
Crawl space window or something with it.
How much more you gonna backfill that?
Not too much beyond what's there now, but about 3 blocks will be exploded. It's 5 blocks high total, so you can kind of get a reference on that.
Oh, so it's 5 blocks now, and it's probably
Yeah.
gonna be 3 after
Right.
you're
Not
done.
You're
more than
done.
3 of
So
them
it won't be
exploded.
quite as dramatically up out of
Exactly.
the ground as that, okay.
And I think the reason that Mr. Bunny did that drawing that way is because that's a 2-story house. And I think he did that cottage to make it look more, you know, that would fit in. If you put it too small, it wouldn't look right. So that's why trying to keep it the same pitch and,
Okay.
and high top, you know, so it look right.
And I think your landscape is gonna landscaping will make a big difference there on that Plum Alley side too.
Well, and that's your thing, right, the landscaping, your,
I've already got trees and stuff, you know, stuff ready to go if I could ever get the yard finished.
So the issue for us then is whether to approve the moving of the porch or stoop from the back to the side. that's really the only.
Well, and there were some paint colors in here.
Oh, yeah, you all approved me, white with the yellow, and then I sent some
Yellow
other
and-
ones, just in case I decide to change it. Would y'all have a problem? You all said I could paint it any color, as long as it was historic color. But I don't know if I'm gonna use them, but I didn't wanna have to
Well,
waste
paint is
y'all's
just
time.
paint.
Yeah.
I didn't wanna waste your time.
So what did we approve and what else? What's
Well, I
the,
was originally gonna do it white with the green door.
okay, and now you're thinking maybe,
Well, I was thinking one of those blues
That we're
and a
looking at
yellow
here on
door.
the
I'm
screen.
not 100%, I
So
still
the
may
yellow
use.
wouldn't be the house, it would be the door.
Yeah, the door, yeah. But I don't know if I'm gonna do it, colored until I get the side nut to see if it looks okay white.
Oh,
But if it's just too bland, I thought it might look okay in blue. The light or the dark blue
Mhm.
and the yellow door.
Well, we don't mind you coming back if you
Okay.
don't mind at all.
Yeah.
If you'd
That would
like,
probably
if you'd
be
like to
better.
wait and do that at
We'd-
the last minute.
Okay,
So right now, we're just gonna talk about
okay.
porch then.
I think with all your beautiful flowers, it's not gonna be bland.
No. So
Uh,
we're going to approve what you've already done, basically,
Okay.
is what you're asking.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the only thing we're working on, is that right?
Okay.
And- All right, and let me just review one more thing. And the only issue that the town had with this, that Tyler has already said that there is not a drainage issue right this minute, and it is not coming, she's not planning to go in from Plum Alley.
Correct, as long as there's no parking, no actual access to the property from Plum Alley, then staff is okay. If she wants to come in from church and park next to her structure, that's
Okay.
okay, but anytime, cannot be access from Plum Alley
Yes.
into that parcel.
Are they saying that because of the drain? Is that what you said? What about the lady, I'm just saying, the lady next door hasn't got any kind of drain there. Is that okay?
Well, she only has one entrance to her property, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. Right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get it in my head.
Are there any further questions? If not, are we?
I think Mike.
No,
No.
I think we just need to be careful about making clarification about the entrance off of Church Street is the only entrance that can be used. You can't have two. And I'm still not so sure that's understood or not.
Yeah, I understand.
What, and
Is
That
that,
doesn't
is that
mean-
even something we approve or disapprove? I mean, isn't that a town ordinance, something,
Yeah,
that's
that's
not,
not
that's
us.
not
Yeah,
a
so- and so the
structure of
town-
the.
I think we need to make clarification on it.
what, and we also had this page. What was
Yeah,
this?
when we were here before, we wasn't sure about if it's gonna need rails and stuff, but they're wood rails.
Mhm.
And what's the size of them?
It says 1 1/4 square
And
painted.
they have wood rails and wood posts, four posts.
Okay.
That's the very
Straight.
last page. of her stuff.
Okay.
Oh, so, and this is going to be
There's a handrail, I didn't see that.
on either side of the steps.
Yes, it's gonna be on the front porch and on the little stoop.
So is it gonna go around except for where the stairs are, is that
Yes,
what
yes.
you're saying?
Mhm.
And what type of railing, what type of spindles?
They're wood, just they're kind of square.
And you've given us the hand.
Did you get that?
It doesn't-
It didn't come
real-
through.
It's
kinda
real
hard to
faint.
see.
Can we
Yeah,
pass that around?
yeah, that one looks better. I thought it was a smear when I first looked
Yeah.
at it.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's just, the
It's
bottom rail, I see.
It's like the ones you see on the other porches where they fasten into each other on the top and the bottom. You know, they're not like fastened to the porch.
Here was our page, we couldn't tell what you were doing.
Is this gonna be, what's the height of the rail gonna be?
It'd be 36 inches off of the surface. The top.
Is this gonna go from the structure out to the post? Is that right?
It's required on both the steps and the porch because it's 3 steps or more.
Oh, I see, it's gonna be a handrail on either side coming down the
Coming
steps.
down.
Okay. And are they gonna be posts at the bottom of the steps?
Yes. There'll be probably just 4 by 4 half posts at the bottom of the steps, but
Would there be any type of finial on top of the post?
yeah, we're still looking for the style. It'll be painted to match, all white.
Does anyone have any questions regarding the handrails?
No.
I mean, when you decide on your finials, you should at least run it by the staff, I would think. Wouldn't you? I mean,
We didn't know anything about the rails yet until we
Okay.
came to see
Would
if
you-
there was a certain requirement you have. You
No,
just
it's
said
just-
as long as they were wood or,
Right.
I can bring you, I can
Or
come back and
just
bring.
show them to my office.
If you know.
Oh, you mean the actual what they are?
Or just when you decide on what you want to do for the finials, if you would just.
Oh, the
make
top,
sure,
okay, gotcha,
I mean,
gotcha. Okay.
you know, Statue of Liberty torches or something, I mean, you never know, I mean, we just have to be careful.
Yeah.
Y'all think I'm terrible,
No,
don't
we
you?
don't, it's just that we've learned from experience that we have to cover
We
all
have
the
to,
bases.
we have to
Well, I
ask
want you
questions.
to, I want you
We're not
to.
picking on you, we're not picking on you.
I don't care, pick them.
We've learned that the devil is in the details.
All right, is
Well, I
there-
appreciate all your help, really.
Thank you. Are there any
I
further
want to do it
questions?
right.
If not, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move that we approve the stoop being moved around to face Plum Alley rather than to face the west side as originally approved.
All right, is there a second?
And I don't know if we can add in there to be sure that there is no entry be made on the Plum Alley side of the house
Yeah, there really isn't enough room
Okay.
there for an entryway on that side.
from Plum Alley. Okay.
Yep.
Do we need to approve the railing?
Are we going to approve the railing today? Okay.
I guess we could approve the railing and the condition, the finial for the railing to be approved by staff, or I'm gonna come back to us and then.
All right, and so second approval of the railings
Yeah.
as presented with the condition that the finials are brought before the staff for approval.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
What about the color? Do you want me to wait and see what that is, right?
The railing color?
No, the house, wait and
Oh,
see
yeah,
what
wait and
color,
see,
then
yeah.
If you decide to change it from what we approved, come back. If you go with what we approved, obviously you don't make it.
Okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, yeah, but does she just have a year though, right? Does she have to come back if it runs out, or? 'cause this
Did you
was-
get the colors I had?
Uh-huh.
I got a sample.
Oh, okay, because when
It
didn't we
was
do this
originally approved as white to match the house.
in October, right?
Yeah.
In October,
Good point.
so.
Will
if,
you be ready to paint by October?
Oh, yeah, we should.
Oh,
be.
okay. Okay,
Okay,
then, yeah, let us see your colors then.
I believe, was it
I
six?
just asked your opinion, do you think the darker the light blue would be better?
Ooh, those are pretty. This is what we approved?
Well, this is, you've got the white.
Yeah.
here, but this is just, I didn't.
And what was the door that we approved?
Green. Is it green? I think you got the sample, I got a bit of blue.
And
If I change it, it would be this blue or that blue.
for the
Yeah,
for the
okay.
house with that door.
Yeah.
Well,
That's really hurt.
It's not
Do
really
you
our
like that
place.
dark, do you like these colors or do you like white?
It's not really
Well, it's
our
not
place
really
to-
our
Yeah.
preference.
up to you.
You want to tell me what you like?
No, we won't.
We're not allowed to.
Alright.
the
It
problem
needs
is
to
if
be
we
what
get
you
into
want.
doing that, then
Then everyone's
it
gonna,
becomes very
yeah.
subjective. It's your structure, and you should
Yeah,
do
do
what you want to, as long as
These
it's.
are all historical colors.
Those are
Yes,
approved
yes. They're all
colors.
within what
Yeah.
we
Right.
approved. Up to you.
I guess if you want them to approve a color tonight, pick one and
Would you think I
ask
should
them.
just leave it white?
Can she can keep it white if she wants to, but
can-
she'll have a
Yes.
backup plan if she
Yes.
wants.
She
And
can-
we,
Yeah,
you know,
I'll
we're
co-
meeting
I'll
in
try to
the-
change it, I'll come back.
We're meeting in another 2 weeks.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
you know,
We
backup
can meet
plan.
whenever you need.
Something I do when, and I think all of us do this, is once you've got your siding up there, you can paint a 2x2 white and a 2x2 with different blues, and then look at it and decide. what
I'm
you-
gonna know when he gets it up because the siding is white. It's got a primer on it already.
Uh-huh.
And I'll look and see if that would be something that I
That
like.
you like.
What kind of
If
sign
not-
is yours?
Okay.
All right,
Thank
I
you.
think we've got it moved and seconded. Is there roll call?
Mr. Owens,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn,
Aye.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
and Mr. Houston.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Have a good evening.
Back to
You
work.
too. Okay. We had some public comments, but I think
They all left?
they left.
Well, that was Vicky. That's her.
Yeah, well, she probably thought she had to sign
She
up.
probably thought she had to sign.
Okay, do we have any business matters not on the agenda?
The only thing I was gonna bring up is that, I did start basically an outline for our event of dates. So we're still going with the August 18th date, so basically, we're finalizing the grant acceptance this week. What we had talked about originally, and I don't know if we don't probably need to finalize this, but we had talked that our event would include a walking tour. The DHR speakers, you saw that in the email where they're willing to talk on any topic we really want them to talk about, but, we had kind of given them some suggestions and then, I think we should have us speak, HPRB, the town needs to speak about the expansion of the historic district as one of the topics. And then have Donovan give our primary chat and talk, and then see if we can have a reception afterwards. So that's kind of my idea of our little mini half-day conference, to make it a little more substantial, because if we're inviting people from other communities and they're driving over here, I think we probably want it to be more than just one.
So are these April 25th things already on an agenda?
No, this is kind of like my deadline, like
Okay.
making sure that we,
For those things on the left.
yeah, that we kind of start making sure
Yeah.
that these things get going before August.
Yeah.
I'm talking with Tanya Triplett, our economic development and tourism person, about event space, reception space, whether or not we can, work with some local restaurants, local lodging for the speakers who are coming here, because I kind of want to make it like an event that, they're coming to show off the town. We had 2 people come through yesterday from the solar, we're working with SoulSmart to get a solar verification for the town, and they'd never been here, and they were so excited. I mean, yesterday was a brilliant day, right? I was like, it's like Abingdon has her, like, Easter dress on, because it's just so pretty, so, but you kind of get, like, that's what I would hope, that we would have that sort of interaction with the people who are coming. The DHR asked us if we could invite all the local government offices in the area, because they said we don't get to do this very often, and they don't, get to do this that often in this area. And I said, of course, we'll invite everyone. So if we're looking to have a bigger space, then I think we should try to kind of push to get more people here.
Do you have a number in mind of how many people you would hope
Well,
for?
I would think that just out of our local people, between you all, planning commission, town council members, Sinking Spring Cemetery Committee, I mean, there's various groups, historical society, mustard ground folks, like, I'm thinking just us, we could probably collect 30 to 40 people.
Oh, yeah.
Going around, so, I'm thinking 100 if we're looking at a small event, if it, and we talked a little bit about the, higher ed has that really nice room at the end there with the
The
slanted
executive
seat,
auditorium.
yeah, which kind of can be flexible. You can have people push down and it feels really full, or you could, we needed more space. It would be nice if we could keep it down here and not go out there, but I'm
In
not
the
entirely
district.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Well,
we
is
kinda
there,
have
is
to-
there another space?
And the
This-
library isn't big enough.
And this room is about as big as the library.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
is-
room holds what?
But if we were gonna have wine,
96.
I mean, we
How
can't have
many?
wine in here, right?
Oh, I see, I think this, I bet
many?
you we could do it, 102.
Could you have alcohol here, like a glass of wine in this building though?
I don't know, but I was thinking we could, if we could get somebody to either sponsor, or if we end up having to pay for, we could do a reception like down at the Sisters restaurant, downstairs in the Martha there
Yeah.
is really quite lovely.
Yeah.
With all the
Yeah.
seating.
What about the
so.
Summers building with their
Yeah, I don't
top
know.
bar and
Yeah.
their,
We should have kept Nate around.
community, there's gonna be on that 3rd floor, there is gonna be a meeting room
It's
that has
done.
access to the.
Yeah.
I can ask them. I wasn't sure what their timeline was. So.
They told me, I talked to the brothers last night, and I think they're thinking June or July.
Okay.
Well,
They have a wedding.
Megan Reed is
scheduled in
getting
June.
married there June 10th, so they promised them June 10th it would be ready, so we should
Oh,
be,
Right.
Well, that's a deadline.
yeah.
Very
Well,
good.
I think it sounds wonderful, and I, for one, would love to have a meeting just to
Okay.
talk about this, so we're not
Yeah.
doing it at the end of the time when we're all.
No, I wanted
Tired.
to just let you know that I'm starting to
I think it's
pull it
wonderful.
together, so if
Yeah.
we want to.
Yeah.
And this looks great.
It does
Okay.
look great.
It
Is the
does.
walking tour gonna be part of the event? I mean, like, are you envisioning like maybe having the speakers speak and then a walking tour?
I kind of thought maybe it'd be earlier in the day,
Oh, I see.
like, because it's gonna be hot in August, right? And
What
so,
time are we thinking to have
Um,
the speakers?
I was thinking we'd want him to come in the evening, honestly. Like to have the main speaker at like 6 and we could have the other things earlier in the day.
Well, what, I mean, just throwing out ideas, what if we had the speakers at 6 and this is gonna last, what, an hour?
Yeah, I can't imagine more than like an hour and a half.
And then do a brief walking tour up that
In
way,
the
and then
evening.
maybe have some refreshments
We could do
somewhere
that.
like that, someone's building, if we
Yeah.
can make that work, something like
Yeah.
that, where we would have, we wouldn't be just at,
Yep.
And now, is the walking tour just a walk, or was it be somebody like Donna Marie pointing out things, or Michael Hennessy?
We had kind of
pointing out
thought that
things?
originally. I think that was one of the things that we thought people could, as an option.
Or Garrett Jackson, you know, he was.
And we could do that as an option during the earlier part of the day for anyone who comes to
I'm
visit
gonna
town.
just throw out there that I prefer to keep it in town and not at the
I
higher
would
ed.
too,
Okay.
definitely.
Well, then
Me
what I would
too.
like to do is kind of like try to find some options for us and then bring it back to a
Yeah.
meeting where we can
Yeah,
kind of hash it out, but
let's
then I'll
do.
know a little more.
Yeah, let's have a meeting
Yeah,
about
the
it.
tavern has that whole big extensive deck out back
True.
there where you,
It's
you
true.
know, I mean, I don't know what our budget's gonna be and what we, if we get sponsors
Well, we could use
or
your
something.
backyard. You've got
Yeah,
a
we
nice
could use
yard.
my backyard.
There you go. So what we basically ended up getting from, as far as money goes, what we ended up getting is $2,500 for his speaking engagement fee. We also need to pay for like his room and board. That can come out of our current budget as long as we've spent it out of our travel budget. I talked to our finance director prior to July. So as long as we get everything scheduled, we do have some money in those pots right now that we could use for this event. So it would be nice if we could get other things sponsored because obviously we can't buy alcohol with town dollars. So that's where it might take some effort on your part, maybe not your part, I don't know whose part, but somebody's part to get us some sponsors for the, for more of the refreshment side of it. So I think we can take care of like making sure the speakers are here, making sure we have an event space, and then your role would be see if we could get some sponsors.
Because we're gonna have to have a caterer, right?
I don't know what level we
What
wanna
we
go
do.
to.
I just think we need to have a good meeting and think about it. I think
Yeah.
we're all in unison that we ought to
Yes.
have it here.
In
and-
town.
And let it
Okay.
progress around.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay?
Yeah, so this is just to kind of keep in mind what, moving forward, and then, yeah, we can have
So
another
is there
meeting.
anything you wanna do before, I mean, you got all the things you have covered for April 25th sort of in your mind?
Yeah, this is me
Okay.
kind of trying to get everything pulled together, and, then we can, if we wanna meet,
So we should meet
I'll
before May 9th.
yeah. If we could get back together, and I'll send out an email and see
Okay.
what's a good day for you all.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me. That's a good time for me coming up.
Okay.
Okay.
So I can get me out tomorrow.
Yeah, congratulations on all your help, and thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'll be just a really nice thing, and when the DHR folks said that if they were allowed, like, could we invite other towns, I was like, well, of course,
Yeah.
we can invite other towns.
How many people do you think that is?
It'd be a wonderful celebration of historic preservation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
all right, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Rowlands,
Aye.
Mrs. Hartshorn.
Aye.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
and Mr. Geeson.
All right.
So we leave this on the table, or